What up, world? Established Rich coming right back at you. Now, today's conversation is one of those situations where ego, relationships, and the internet all collide at the same time. Because what we watching right now between Papoose, 50 Cent, and Claressa Shields is not just a rap beef. It ain't just jokes, and it ain't just social media noise. This is what happens when people who are used to attention, cameras, and applause start operating in each other's personal business. Let's start right here because context matters. The real issue is between 50 Cent and Papoose. That part is old. That part goes back years. That part has history, pride, and unresolved ego attached to it. But when Claressa Shields steps in, the energy changes completely. And I don't say that as a diss. I say that because Claressa is not a rapper. She's not a podcaster. She's not a content creator. She is a world-class athlete who is used to being respected for what she does, not dragged into internet theater. And that's important because when 50 starts talking about Papoose's money or saying he broke or saying Claressa is buying her own gifts, that ain't rap talk no more. That's personal talk. And to me, that's where the line get crossed. I said this before and I say it again now. A real man don't get in the middle of another man's relationship and start counting his pockets. That ain't strategy, that ain't competition, that ain't hip hop. That's petty and it's weird because at that point you ain't trying to out-rap somebody. You trying to outthink them. You trying to embarrass somebody in front of their own woman. And that's a different type of energy. Now, let's talk about Claressa because this is where it gets real. Claressa admitted that Papoose told her to let him handle it. And that tells me something important about Pap. That tells me he understands the game. He understands that once you start going back and forth publicly with 50, it never really stops. But Claressa is human. And it's hard to sit quiet when somebody is saying you being used or saying your man is broke or suggesting your relationship is transactional. That's not internet shit. That's personal shit. So when she spoke up, I ain't see clout chaser. I saw a woman defending herself. But here's the hard part nobody really wants to talk about. When you live your relationship online, people are gonna talk about it. When you post your love, your gifts, your arguments, your vacations, your business, you inviting commentary. Not fair commentary, not respectful commentary, just commentary. And Papoose has been living in that world for years. Love and hip hop, interviews, reality TV, cameras all up in his business. He know how this movie goes. Claressa does not. She comes from a world where your work speaks for you, where your record is your record. Social media drama is not part of that culture. And that's why I can see this becoming a problem long term. Because if every troll gets a response, if every joke gets a reaction, then your piece is never yours. And this is what 50 Cent is masterful, whether people like it or not. He knows how to pull people into his world. He knows how to make you react. This is not about winning an argument. This is about controlling the attention. And right now, everybody is playing the game on his turf. Now, the AI videos take this thing to a whole nother level. This ain't just words no more. This is visual mockery that spreads faster than any diss record could. And once that door is open, it does not close. What this really turns into is a visibility beef. And that's where it gets tricky for Claressa Shields. Because boxing is a results business. Hip hop is a perception business. And social media is a distortion business. 50 knows that, Pap knows that. Claressa is learning in real time. When Claressa jumps in and says, these rappers don't get their ass beat enough, that's not a boxer talking. That's a partner protecting her man. And I get it. I really do. But here's the problem. The moment you step into a hip-hop beef, you're no longer judged by your record. You're judged by your reaction. And 50 Cent lives off reaction. 50 don't need to win the argument. He just needs you to respond. Because every response extends the life of the joke. Every clapback makes the troll worth it. That's why he went there with money talk. That's why he said Pap was broke. That's why he brought up what he paid for. Not because it's true, but because it's disrespectful enough to pull you in. And let me say this clear. Real street dudes don't talk about other men's households. Real ones don't count another man's pockets through his woman. That ain't power. That's internet energy, which tells you everything you need to know about what time it is. This ain't about balls. This ain't about legacy. It's about attention management. And Papoose understands that. That's why he said, let me handle it. Because Pap is built for hip-hop conflict. He been in the game long enough to know when silence hits harder than a post. But Claressa, she ain't wired that way. She a fighter. When you swing at her, she swinging back. The issue is, online, every swing gets looped. Every emotion gets screen recorded. And every response becomes content for somebody else. And here's where the relationship part comes in. When you date somebody who live their life on reality TV, you don't get privacy by default. You have to create it. Papoose has been on camera for years. Confessionals, reunions, blogs, headlines. He know how to take a hit and keep moving. Claressa is new to that part. She used to winning, getting her hand raised, and walking back to the locker room. But social media don't have a locker room. It just follows you home. So when people say, this is what comes with being public, they ain't wrong. You can't crack the door for the cameras and expect them not to walk all the way in. And I ain't saying Claressa is wrong for defending herself. I'm saying this is tuition. This is the price of dating somebody who exists inside a culture built on disrespect. 50 ain't after Pap, and Pap ain't after 50. This is about who can control the narrative without losing their composure. And right now, the only person at risk of losing peace is the person who don't need to say nothing at all. Listen, when you zoom all the way out, it ain't really about 50. It ain't really about Pap. And it's definitely not about who paid for what bag. It's about boundaries, it's about visibility, and it's about what happens when private relationships get pulled into public entertainment. Hip-hop always has its jokes. It always had trolling, disrespect. Difference now is that disrespect comes with graphics, screenshots, AI videos, and an audience that never logs off. What used to be a line in a song is now a meme that lives forever. When a man starts talking about another man through his woman, that ain't competition, that ain't culture, that's just internet theater. And when a woman of real accomplishment feels forced to step into that space, not because she wants attention, but because she wants peace, that's when you realize how messy all this shit really is. Some people are built for the camera. Some people grew up inside it. Others are still learning how loud it get when you stand in front of a camera too long. Love and loyalty are real, but so is the cost of letting strangers come into your life. You don't win every battle by swinging. Sometimes you win by starving the noise. And if it's one thing I hope comes out of this, it's that people start remembering you can't control what people say about you, but you can control how long you let it live. Every response feeds the machine. Every emotion becomes content. Every clapback extends the story. At some point you have to decide, do you want to be right? Or do you want to be at peace? And that's why I'm going to leave it. Like, comment, subscribe, establish rich. I'll be back with another one. Peace.